There is a very special time in a man's life, usually when he is around 60 years old, when he finally feels like he can take a deep breath. For many years, he was like a soldier on a mission. He worked hard every day, kept his head down, and did what he had to do for everyone else. Now he looks around and notices that the house is quiet. The children are all grown up and have started their own lives. The big career that took so much energy is finally over. That heavy weight on his shoulders, the need to always be the best or to prove himself to his boss, has finally started to go away. For the first time in 30 or 40 years, he can wake up whenever he wants to. He can enjoy a warm cup of coffee while watching the birds outside without worrying about a meeting. He can spend the money he saved without asking anyone if it is okay. He can finally make choices based on what makes his heart feel light, rather than what everyone else expects of him. It is a beautiful and peaceful stage of life that he worked very hard to reach. Yet, it is often at this very moment that many men make a choice that changes the whole direction of their remaining years. They meet someone new and feel a spark of connection. They start to wonder if getting married again is the right thing to do. Everything around them seems to say yes. People on the street, friends at the park, and even family members often smile and clap for the idea. But very few people stop to ask a really important question. Is getting married when you are over 60 the same thing as it was when you were 30? What if the promise that used to make life feel safe now makes things more difficult in ways you did not see coming? What if the desire to have a friend by your side slowly turns into new chores, new rules, and new things you have to give up? This is happening at a time in your life when your freedom is the most valuable thing you own. Many men only find out about these hard truths after they have already signed the legal papers and mixed their bank accounts with someone else. By that time, changing your mind is much harder than making the choice in the first place. This is not about staying away from love or being a grumpy person. It is not about closing your heart to others. Love can be one of the best things you ever feel, no matter how old you are. The real question is whether you actually need a marriage paper to feel that love. Over a long time, people who study relationships, people who help with money, and even those who help with family laws have seen a pattern. The hard parts that older men face when they marry again are often very different from what they thought would happen when they said yes. And the very first reason might be the one that surprises most men the most. It has nothing to do with flowers or romance. It has everything to do with protecting the life you spent 40 years building with your own two hands. The first thing many men worry about when they think of marrying again is whether they will get along with the person. But according to people who understand how money works, that is not the first question you should ask. The real question is what happens to your life if things do not work out. By the time a man is 60, he has usually spent a lifetime building something that matters. It might be a house that is fully paid for, some money put away for his older years, or just the comfort of knowing his future is safe. Those things did not just fall from the sky. They were built through years of skipping vacations, working late nights, and being very careful with every dollar. What many men do not realize is that getting married changes the legal rules about your money and your house instantly. Love feels like a private thing in your heart, but marriage is also a legal contract. The moment you sign that paper, new rules enter your life. Suddenly, choices about your house, your things, what you leave to your kids, your taxes, and your health can become a big, messy puzzle. A relationship that feels easy and fun at the start can cause money problems that last for a very long time. The hard part is that most people do not talk about these things when they are feeling romantic. They talk about being happy and taking trips together, but they rarely talk about what happens if life changes. People who help couples often notice that older men have much more to lose than they did when they were young. When you are 30, you are still building your future. When you are 60, you are protecting it. That is a completely different world. Yet many men jump in with the same heart they had when they were 20. And money is only the start of the story. What many men eventually find out is that money can be earned back, but your own freedom is much harder to recover once it is gone. If there is one thing that becomes more and more precious as you get older, it is your freedom. I do not mean the kind of freedom you see in big action movies. I mean the simple freedom to live your day exactly how you want to. It is the freedom to keep your own habits, to manage your own clock, and to spend your money on what you like. It is the freedom to have a quiet, peaceful home without having to ask someone else for permission every time you want to move a chair or change the TV channel. After working for decades, many men finally get to a place where life is not so bossy. That is why some people who study the mind believe the best part of being older is not romance, but peace. The trouble is that getting married again often brings back the very chores and duties that many men thought they were finished with. At the very beginning, everything feels like a party. You have someone to talk to and someone to hold hands with. But as the days turn into weeks, expectations start to grow. Choices that used to be easy now need a long conversation. Your own habits start to change to fit someone else. Small things that made you comfortable for years might suddenly start an argument. No one is being mean or doing anything wrong on purpose. The truth is that two people who have lived their own way for 60 years are now trying to mash those two ways together. This is very hard because the older we get, the more we like our own ways of doing things. A man who has enjoyed his morning routine for 20 years might find it very annoying to change it. His new wife probably feels the exact same way about her own habits. Small, grumpy moments that seem like nothing at first can slowly turn into a lot of stress. Many older men eventually see that they were not actually missing a marriage. They were just missing a connection with another person. And those two things are not always the same. In the next part, we will look at another challenge that almost nobody talks about before they get married. Yet, this challenge can change everything long before you even have a disagreement inside your own house. One of the biggest things people forget when marrying after 60 has very little to do with the two people in love. It starts with the people who are already in their lives. Children, grandkids, and longtime friends all become part of the story. A man might think he is making a choice that only affects him, but experts who study families have seen that late-life marriages act like a rock thrown into a quiet pond. It makes ripples that touch everyone. In many cases, adult children really do want their dad to be happy, but they might not feel happy when a new marriage starts. Sometimes they worry they will not be as close to their dad anymore. Sometimes they are scared that the things he worked for will not go to the family later on. Other times, they just do not know the new person very well and feel nervous. Even if nobody says anything mean, you can feel the tension in the room. Family dinners might start to feel a little bit stiff. Conversations might not be as open as they used to be. Relationships that used to be easy now feel like you have to walk on eggshells. It gets even more confusing when both people have their own families. You are trying to mix different traditions and different ways of doing things. It is very common for an older man to find himself stuck in the middle. He is trying to keep the people he has loved for 50 years happy, while also trying to please his new partner. What started as a search for a friend can turn into a full-time job of trying to keep everyone from being mad at each other. The sad truth is that family fights rarely start with a big explosion. They grow from tiny misunderstandings that pile up over time. And while many men think they can just handle it, there is another hidden hurdle that can show up later. This one affects your body and your daily life in a very big way. Another reality that many men do not think about is that being in a relationship at 60 is very different from being in one at 30. When you are young, you have a lot of time to fix mistakes. You have more energy to change and build things again. But as we get older, time is more precious and energy is smaller. Health is something we cannot always count on. This changes what a promise to another person really means. What starts as a fun friendship can turn into a very big job of taking care of someone. A partner who looks healthy and strong today might have big health problems in 5 or 10 years. The same thing could happen to you. Getting older does not ask if it is okay to change your body. People who study relationships say that when you marry late in life, you are not just joining your lives today. You are joining whatever hard times come tomorrow. Many men think about vacations and having dinner together when they think of marriage. Those things are great, but life has a darker side too. More trips to the doctor happen. It gets harder to move around. Money might have to be spent on things you did not plan for. Duties that seemed far away can suddenly be your whole day. It is not that helping someone you love is a bad thing. Most good men want to help the people they care about. The real question is if you have truly thought about how much you are ready to carry. This is a time in your life when your own health and your own rest are very important too. Too many times, men only look at the happy feelings they have right now and forget about the long road ahead. This leads to the most important lesson of all. After years of working and carrying the world on your back, many men find out that the thing they want most is not more money or even a wedding. It is something much simpler. It is peace. By the time you reach 60, you have spent your whole life running after goals. You worked to build a job. You worked to give your family a good home. You worked to make sure there was money for the future. You spent years fixing everyone else's problems and putting your own needs at the bottom of the list. For many men, this part of life is supposed to be the time when all that pressure finally goes away. But then they realize something interesting. The best prize is not how much stuff you have. It is having a mind that is quiet and calm. This is where many men make a mistake. They think that because having a friend feels good, they must get married to keep that feeling. But people who study how we think say that having a friend and being married are two very different things. One is a feeling in your heart. The other is a legal and life-changing promise that touches every part of your future. A man might want to be close to someone without realizing that what he really loves is his independence. He wants to be connected, but also wants to be his own boss. Many older men find out that their happiest years happen when they have great friends and deep love without giving up the freedom they worked so hard to get. They can enjoy long talks, travel, and support while still being in charge of their own house and their own money. There is a big difference between sharing your life with someone and rebuilding your whole life around someone. If you find this talk helpful, you might want to join our circle of friends who talk about these things, because the next reason might change how you see your future forever. Once you understand the difference between being lonely and wanting a marriage, you will see why so many men get them mixed up and make choices they later regret. One big reason men struggle with this choice is that they think being lonely means they need a wife. At first, those two feelings seem like the same thing. Both make you want someone to talk to or someone to sit with at the end of a long day. But experts say that loneliness and marriage fix different things. Knowing the difference can save you from a choice you might not like later. Loneliness is just feeling like you do not have a deep connection. Marriage is a legal promise that comes with a lot of duties and rules. The problem is that when a man feels lonely, he just wants that bad feeling to go away as fast as possible. Because of that, he tells himself that marriage is the only way to feel better. But many men who marry again find out that loneliness does not go away just because someone else is in the house. Some experts even say that being lonely inside a marriage feels much worse than being lonely while living by yourself. Why is that? It is because you expect to feel close, but you do not. A man can have someone sitting right next to him on the sofa and still feel like she does not understand him. This is why many happy older people build a life full of good friends, hobbies, and fun groups instead of rushing into a wedding. They focus on making their own life big and happy first, and then they let a partner be a part of that life rather than the whole world. Once a man sees this, he notices something even more important. The best relationships when you are older are not built on needing someone. They are built on wanting someone. And that makes all the difference. Think about two different men who are 68 years old. Both of them lost their partners years ago and felt very empty. The first man started looking for a new wife right away because he thought a wife would bring back his happiness. The second man took a different path. He reached out to old friends, traveled more, went back to his hobbies, and worked on his own health. He made a life that felt good even when he was alone. Years later, their lives looked very different. The first man got married quickly, expecting it to fix his heart. At first, it was fun. But then, the real world moved in. He had to change his habits and deal with new fights. What he thought would make him feel free actually made him feel more tired and pressured. The second man eventually met a lady too, but he was not looking for someone to fix his life. He was looking for someone to share a life that was already good. Because of that, he was strong. He could enjoy her company without feeling like he had to get married just to be okay. This is a common pattern. The best relationships happen when two people choose each other because they want to, not because they are scared or lonely. When a man builds a good life for himself first, he does not make choices based only on a sad feeling. This leads to a big question. If marriage is not always the answer, what kind of life actually makes a man feel the best in his older years? The answer might surprise you. The men who seem the happiest after 60 are often the ones who do things a little differently. They are not always the ones with the most money. They are not always married. They are not trying to show off or prove anything to the world. Instead, they have built a life around being very careful and thoughtful with their time. They wake up with a reason to get out of bed. They protect their energy. They spend time with people who bring them joy. They refuse to give away their peace to things that are not worth it. When researchers look at how happy older people are, they find that it does not matter much if you are married or single. What matters is the quality of your daily life. This is where many men change how they think. They stop asking how to find a person and start asking how to build a life they actually love living. That one little change can transform everything. A man who likes his own company makes better choices. He is not going to settle for a bad relationship because he is afraid. He is not going to ignore red flags. He is not going to sign a paper just because society says he should. The truth is that marrying after 60 can be a happy thing for some. No expert would say it is always bad. But the best results happen when two people are truly a good match, not when they are just trying to escape being alone. The strongest bonds are made by people who already know how to be happy on their own, and that brings us to the very last lesson. After everything we have talked about, there is one question every man should ask himself before he makes a choice that will change the rest of his days. It is a question that is more important than love or excitement. Before any man gets married again after 60, he needs to ask this: does this relationship truly make the life I have built even better? Or am I just hoping this person will fill a hole inside me? You have to be very honest when you answer that. As we get older, life shows us truths that we could not see when we were young. By now, you have a lot of wisdom, and you have learned many hard lessons. The best part of getting older is not what you know, it is how clearly you see things. You start to see which choices bring you peace and which ones take it away. Many men spend their young years thinking that being successful means adding more and more things to their life. More jobs, more stuff, more promises. But after 60, the rules of the game change. The smartest men focus on keeping what matters most. They protect their health, their time, their family, and their quiet heart. When you look at it that way, getting married is not just a romantic choice. It is a big life choice. This does not mean you should stay away from love. Having a friend and feeling affection is very important at any age. The lesson is just that a wedding is not the only way to get those things. You can have a very deep and meaningful relationship without giving up your independence. You can have a great connection without making your life messy and complicated. The best relationships in later life are built on respect and being grown up enough to choose each other every single day. You stay because you want to, not because a legal paper says you have to. If a person brings more peace and more smiles to your life, that is a wonderful thing. But if the relationship puts your safety, your money, or your freedom at risk, it is worth slowing down. You should think very carefully before you take that next step. The goal is not to hide from love. The goal is to make sure that love makes your life better instead of taking it over. Stay connected with our group of caring people for more thoughts on how we act and the big choices we make in life. I would love to hear what you think about this. Do you think getting married after 60 is still a good idea for most men? Or do you think having a partner without a wedding is the smarter way to go?